Hello, this is Winston Cunningham. It is March the 31st in 2025. And I'm thinking today about the movement from killing time to using time. Time is a gauge we use in the physical existence to determine reality. Reality as it shows up in our experience. This is why we're in the physical. This is the only reason we're in the physical, is to learn about this one. And each experience affords me an opportunity to learn just a little bit more about myself. So, and this is the importance of moving from killing time to using time. Because when I'm using time, I'm plugged into the learning. I'm being purposeful about being here. Whereas killing time, I've observed and am observing how much of society is based on killing time. It occurred to me a while back that as one relinquishes the need to be entertained, simultaneously the universe supplies unlimited entertainment. The difference being your purpose for being here. There are people close to me whose major intention is to be entertained. So the next question is always, how can I be more entertained? And they're missing the most valuable entertainment the universe has to offer. This is learning about your own self through experience. So I am in the process of moving from killing time into using time. And so I examine the ways that I do use time, even if I'm not currently involved in a particular activity. That doesn't mean that I'm killing time, because each action requires that it support an ideal you're reaching for, with a clear purpose for supporting that. And that taken into activity. Activity is the final expression of the experience, and that's how time is relative. Because to use our full attention into the experience that we are currently involved in is the best use of time. Even if I'm sitting in a room full of people and I'm just listening, there's a purpose in my listening, so I am using the time. And most people are killing time. They're going over their illnesses, they're going over what's the latest thing I heard on the news and how they hate it or how they love it or whatever. But very seldom do I hear another person talking about their own experience. They'll be talking mostly how other people need to change to make my life better. And so they're killing time. They're killing time by entertaining or asking to be entertained. They take turns entertaining each other by going over the same thing they went over yesterday and maybe adding something to it or going back in their memory. It's interesting. And when I have the opportunity, if, for instance, if I'm sitting at the YMCA in the sauna and somebody asks me a question or gets me started talking, then I'm found that many times as I start talking, the rest of the people in the room will be listening. They have some interest in what I'm saying. And I think that's because I don't spend much time talking frivolously. When I do, it's clearly a joke. I make the joke. And sometimes I'll just say something off the wall and make people say, huh? Because I would rather, if they're not going to hang on to anything that I say, and I'm trying to be productive here, if they're not going to hang on to anything that I've said, I want to leave them with a question in their own mind. And if I can say something off the wall to make them say, huh, then they've got a question. So I'm stimulating people to question. And I put a talk on We Are Valuable Media about the question because it's very important. So I'm always trying to stimulate people to ask a question. And they will find their own way of answering that question. So my duty, as I said, is to help stimulate a question in anyone I meet or anyone that sees me. A fellow asked me the other day, well, what do you know? I said, well, how much time you got? We say these things, rhetorical questions. People always asking rhetorical questions. But I find it interesting if we just answer those rhetorical questions, just like I just did. Person asked me, what do you know? I said, well, how much time you got? Make it light on yourself. I can talk for 3 days. And of course, they're starting with the rhetorical question, not expecting an answer. And that's how I make people say, huh? And so that's my job, is to make people say, huh? Because if they say, huh, they've got a question. And the question is the most important thing. The second most important thing is finding an answer to that question. And the third most important thing is next question. That's the routine. So I am moving from killing time into using time. And there are things that I'm working on that have been in the mental planning stage, adding purpose to that mental plan. And I'm looking more toward the finishing step, the completing it, by directing that into an activity. So that's how I'm moving now from killing time to using time, is directing all of my thoughts and energy into an activity which gives my goals a place to be. As a person moves from killing time into using time, they will be extending their life. Let me repeat that. As a person moves from killing time into using time, in reality, they will be extending their life. A person doesn't start to get old until they run out of something to do, something productive. They're full of the ideas of what's supposed to be and what's not supposed to be. And so they've been killing time all of this time without really using time as productively as they could have. Not should have, could have. When you look back at the past, it is with, if the proper intention would be to look back to see, well, this is how I did it then. How can I do it better? How can I do it different to improve the results? And so a person can be going from killing time into using time. And going back, I love the parable of the talents because it says very clearly, if you use something productively, you have more. If you use something unproductively, you have less, or you lose what you have. So, and Jesus said it in other ways, I put before you life and death, choose life. In other words, understand why you're here. Are you here to have fun? To see how much money you can make and see how fast you can spend it and how much fun you can have? Without considering why you're really here? That's killing time. And there are all shades of using time. And even a person that's accustomed to killing time has their own way of using time. But here's where purpose comes into play. With a clear purpose that supports the ideal you're after for this lifetime, what you're here to do, and everything you do needs to support that. Refining consistently the way you do things so that you're moving from killing time into using time. And as you use time more productively, your life is extended because you are here with a purpose. On purpose, for a purpose, and with a purpose. That's intention. If your intention is to have a productive life, you have a reason to be here longer. A person doesn't start getting old until they run out of something to do. And this is where the use of time can come into play. Using time rather than killing time. So it's moving from habitual compulsive behavior into more productive thinking and doing. Each person has something unique to offer the rest of us. But if they're busy being entertained, how are they giving what they have to us? They're not. They're stealing from themselves because they're failing to recognize what they have to give, and they're holding back on it. I know about holding back because that causes diabetes, and I have it. So that's why I'm putting so much attention into these things. The experience of having something out of place is a stimulus to see how to put things into place. That's why we have dis-ease, which is the lack of ease, which is the lack of productivity. See how it all fits together. Everything fits together. And we're all here to show some benefit to the rest of us. Each person has something unique that the rest of us can benefit from acquiring. So pay attention when you meet somebody new, because that person has something to offer you. And if you're caught up in the entertainment aspect, you may miss the reality, or you may be spending the time without having a use for the time, which is waste and which leads to loss. So it seems like no matter what we talk about, it comes down to gaining or losing. In real terms. And this is how time is relevant to our existence. Because once we rise above the physical, once we're through with this physical existence, and we're again in subconscious mind or soul in between times, the time does not relate. It's not relative. Time is only relative to this physical existence. The passage of the 24 hours, the sunset, the sunrise. It gives us a way to structure our effort at improving this one. And if I'm in the process of improving, whether it's thought or action, if I'm in the process of improving, then I am regenerating. Remember when Jesus said, renew your mind every day? Or it's actually every moment. Because when you and going back to the parable of the talents, but looking at it in terms of longevity. When you use a span of time, whether it's a minute or a day or a month or a year, it doesn't matter. When you use a span of time productively, you're actually adding more time to the life, because you're demonstrating that you have a reason for being here. And people that leave are usually got to the point where they say, oh, it's enough of this crap. I'm gone. There's all kinds of stories. And each one of us is in a different place in our own filling up the bucket, if you will. And filling the bucket, I mean the bits and pieces that make up who we are, or who we can be, and who we choose to be, out of the 144,000 different possibilities there are. So we're not likely to run out of something to do unless we slip back into wanting to be entertained again. Now, I've learned that we can be entertained by what is productive. When I'm sitting, and many times I'll just sit with a group of people and just listen. I'm serving them by listening. There was a call trying to come through. I had to say, no, thank you. Look for ways in your own unique way of serving other people. Because at any given moment, somebody around you needs what you have. So, give it. Or, be stingy. Don't give it. And look more for being entertained yourself, and lose energy, lose time, and you'll check out quicker. Choice is yours. That's a book I'm working on. I started it in 1994. And I don't know when I'll finish it, but the title of the book is called A Matter of Choice. Of course, I wanted to demonstrate about the common cold, because that's built on choices, or the health. The upper respiratory health is built upon making choices, because that is the throat area. This way, actually. And how many people wrestle with making decisions? That's related to the common cold. I won't go into that right now, but I just wanted to mention that to advertise my book, I guess. That's not finished. It's called A Matter of Choice, The Common Cold. And of course, I'll talk about many things in addition to the common cold, because everything comes down to a matter of choice. Unless you're an adolescent and you think somebody up there is saying you get this and you don't. So you cut yourself out of being responsible for any of that. And you're probably wanting to be entertained. So why not, if you like entertainment so much, why not go for the real deal? Universal entertainment, that's what I'm plugged into. And it's more fun than you can shake a stick at. I usually don't make notes, but I made some today. killing time is losing time, or another way of looking at it is dying. At any given moment, you are in the process of living or dying. And you may not have looked at it in this way. But I'm giving you another way to look at it. Killing time or using time. Dying or living. Jesus said, I put before you life and death. Choose life. It's the same principle at work here. How much better could people be faring if they really understood what Jesus was talking about? Instead of just coming away with, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. And I'm doing what I should, so I'm good. And they're not doing what they should, so they're bad. It's all a silly joke. Not so funny, though. So moving, see a movement from the need to be entertained to universal entertainment by plugging into really why you're here. So moving from killing time to using time is where my focus is now, because that's the work I need to do. And I've got a list of things to do, and I've also got a list of 10 most wanted things that I want to do. So putting that together, time is just a tool for us to gauge our own reality. That's why we're in the physical existence. Now, when we're existing between lifetimes in our soul, the subconscious mind, we can see everything at that point. But we have to be in the physical in order to make the adjustments, and as we make those adjustments and what we learn from that, that is then stored in the soul. So everything is a juxtaposition. If you're certain about what something seems to be, the perception will change upon digging a little deeper. Digging a little deeper, that's the deal. One can have as much time as they want for a lifetime by just using more of what they have and thinking very little or not at all about what you don't have. Use what you have, you gain more. Use what you have to gain more. Or saying, woe is me, and fall in the ditch with the blind leading the blind. These are pretty clear choices. And I'm making a choice to move from killing time into using time. And it's taken me a while to come to this point of actually looking forward to activity, because I haven't always been in that frame of mind. Some things I learned pretty quick, other things takes a little while. And it could be that what I'm having difficulty learning this lifetime is not my first go-round. I've had difficulty before. I just kept bringing it forward. Didn't deal with it, put it off, didn't deal with it. There comes a time when you got to deal with it. Some lifetime. Each lifetime is like a grade in school. If we fail a grade, we got to repeat it. So how many times I've repeated these same things, I don't know. But if I got it right, or if I took care of it back then, I wouldn't be needing to take care of it now. But that's all right. I probably took care of something else. Just didn't know how to take care of everything, and still don't. But I am learning, and it is my intention to learn. It is my intention to add understanding about myself within here that is extending my life beyond ordinary expectations. This is available for anyone by moving from killing time into using time. I'm Winston Cunningham. Thank you.